The Anoka-Hennepin district has a proud tradition over the last 70 years of serving the community and being a reflection of the community. Schools are the foundation of a community, and people who see strong schools are inclined to move into that community. And strong schools play a part in making sure that people in our community are ready to be contributing community members. This referendum is our opportunity to continue our efforts in providing success, stability, and support for all students.
Residents of Anoka-Hennepin will have the opportunity to weigh in on 3 questions on or before November 2nd. If approved, the referendum would provide funds for Anoka-Hennepin to maintain stability in schools by continuing to adequately staff schools and classrooms to address and improve class size, focus on success for students by maintaining technology tools and program opportunities, and support students by maintaining and improving mental health services, along with social, emotional, and academic resources. If questions 1 and 2 are approved, voters are renewing 2 referendum projects that were scheduled to expire. Voters would see no tax increase. Current taxes would be extended. Question 3 is contingent upon the approval of Question 1. Question 3 is in response to community feedback. If approved, Anoka-Hennepin will be able to extend new support programs initially funded in response to the pandemic, which the community indicated was an increasing need before 2020. If Question 3 is approved, the tax impact is approximately $10 a month for an Anoka-Hennepin homeowner who owns a $250,000 property. This chart also lists a few examples. A tax impact calculator is also available online. Stay informed and learn how your ballot can impact the success, support, and stability of Anoka-Hennepin schools at ahschools.us/vote2021.
Good evening and welcome to the Coon Rapids High School information session for the Anoka-Hennepin Fall referendum. We're here at Coon Rapids High School in the Media Center, or in the cafeteria, excuse me. And we are live on YouTube, and this will be eventually put on Facebook Live. In the room tonight, we have members of the community. We have our school board member, Jeff Simon, if Jeff wants to raise his hand. Jeff, we also have district office staff and school principals here for people to ask questions to. Our format for tonight is to do about a 15-minute presentation, and we have display slides up. We have laptops to do online surveys. And after the presentation, any of us are going to be available in the room to answer questions. We encourage people online to use the link and click the survey. We gather considerably more information from that survey than we do from people attending in person, so we encourage people to do that. I'm going to walk through the slides, and again, we will also be having all this information on our website. As a starting spot, our school board's primary goal is to meet the expectations of the community. And to measure that on an annual basis, along other measures, is an annual community survey. And we ask similar questions every year, as we have for the last 20 years, and use that data, along with student achievement data and parent and student satisfaction data, to drive change in our system. And the following questions represent people that have, or percentage of people that have answered excellent or good. The first area, quality of education. On our recent survey, 87% of our community said the quality of education in Anoka-Hennepin is excellent or good. When asked about what part of our program people think are exceptional, and we talk about teachers and instructional staff, 91% said that is excellent or good. Does the district provide a wide range of opportunities for students? 85% that was excellent or good. For communication with families, 87% said it was excellent or good. And finally, last January, we gave this survey in the midst of finishing up distance learning and coming back to in-person learning, and 71% said the district had done an excellent or good job managing the pandemic. Certainly no one would want to do distance learning or hybrid learning, and we were pleased to see community feedback that supported our efforts in that area. We are coming back to the voters. This is an informational campaign about our operating levy and our capital levy for this November 2nd. It's Vote 2021, Success, Support, and Stability. We're trying to get people to understand if they're voting, what they're voting for. And here's the webpage, ahschools.us/vote 2021. On a high level, there are 3 questions on the ballot. The first one is a renewal of about a decade-old operating levy. That renewal would be an extension of the existing rate of tax with no tax increase year over year. The second question would be a capital projects levy for technology. Again, that's a renewal of the existing levy. If that's approved, it'll be no increase year over year. It's an extension of the new or the current levy for 10 more years. And the third question is a tax increase if it's approved. It's an operating levy to maintain programs that we're using the federal funds, the federal recovery funds from the pandemic to do over the short term, and we're extending that potentially 10 years. The dollar amount in that third question is approximately $10 a month on a $250,000 home, and I will link you to other references for that. We're going to go into each question in detail. Question 1, again, this is no tax increase. It's an extension of a current operating levy. It's $34.5 million of funding, about exactly $828.22 per pupil. That represents 9.3% of the district's general funds. These funds literally impact every aspect of our K-12 academic programming. This provides a wide range of programming to reach students' needs and prepare for post-secondary success. We're supporting students to increase graduation rates, and without these funds, the district would consider reducing learning opportunities, increase class size, change school schedules, other methods to cost cut 10% of the budget. When asked in detail, what does $34.5 million mean to the district? If we cut 9.3% of the budget out of each of these areas of our current programming, it equates to just over $1 million in school and district administration, just over $1 million of district level support, $29 million of direct instructional support for students, $1.5 million for transportation support, and $1.5 million for building operations. That's what 9.3% of each of those budget areas would mean. The second question is a capital projects levy renewal. Again, it's an extension of a current rate of tax, no increase year over year. The $4.5 million that generates provides technology to support learning in the classrooms, computers, broadband infrastructure, networks, and audio enhancement. If you enter any one of our buildings, you will find wireless access. We support that through this technology levy. If you go into any student's classroom, you'll find a teacher with a microphone able to broadcast to any speaker in the room. That's part of these technology enhancements. In addition to the technology that students hold and the technology that teachers use to instruct. Our goal is to eliminate technology gaps between students and ensure students have access to instruction. Without these funds from this operating levy, we'd need to reduce the budget in other areas or not provide some of this technology. As the board was preparing to bring this question back out to the voters, we asked the question, how important is the ability to use computers and technology for today's students? 85% said either absolutely essential or very important. For me, that was surprising coming off a time of the pandemic where parents concerned about screen use, but parents generally felt that the need in the community felt that the need for technology was essential or absolutely important. The third question is a new tax to extend the mental health and academic supports when federal emergency funds expire. The federal government has set aside funds for schools to recover from the pandemic. ESSER funds or American Recovery Funds. Those funds over the next 2 school years, or just about 2.5 school years, is about $45 million of funding that the district has intended to help students recover from the pandemic. Those funds are currently being used for additional counselor and social workers across our system, summer school experiences, direct support for students that are below grade level and math and reading, lowering class size in kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade. Our goal is to increase the number of students reading at 3rd grade and providing the support for students as they come through the pandemic. We heard from so many parents about mental and social emotional stress for students that were experiencing during the pandemic. These programs are added through one-time federal funding, and they also match the last 4 or 5 years of community surveys. When we ask our community how could we get better, the 2 areas that they focused on is better social and emotional support in our schools and support for kids that are below grade level in reading and math. And we're targeting federal funds to do that first, and after those expire, we're asking the community, do you want to continue that level of support for the next 10 years? On a roadmap, you can see that in July of 2021, we started to receive federal funding. The first batch of federal funding was really targeted towards child nutrition and child care and technology needs, and that was spent prior to these recovery funds. The next $45 million is intended to be spent through the 21-22 and 22-23 school year. Question 3 is approved. If it is approved, it would go 10 years beyond that, and we'd start taxing those funds at that point in time. On our webpage, we have a tax calculator that shows for your personal property tax what your rate would be. You can see for question 1 and question 2, we are not increasing the tax rate for those questions. They're an extension of an existing tax for another 10 years. Question 3 has an annual and a monthly impact. And this is available online, and if you go online, you can put your exact property value, and it'll give you the tax rate. We have listed 10 suburban districts that frequently our community says to us, we'd like to offer the kinds of programming that those places offer, and their voter-approved levies. You can see of those 10 districts that are large metropolitan suburban districts, we are 9th out of 10. If question 3 is added, we would still be 9th out of 10. We have that as a reference for people who ask how much is enough and what does it look like. So these are peer suburban districts that we're frequently compared to when people talk about improving program. We have a webpage at ahschools.us/vote2021 where community members can find polling places, voter registration, frequently asked questions, tax impact calculator, and more. We update our frequently asked questions as we get new questions through the surveys like we have on the laptops here or online or as people call in or ask questions. In review, question 1 is a renewal of an operating levy approved almost 10 years ago. It would extend another 10 years. That's 10%, just under 10% of our budget. Question 2 is a renewal of the capital levy for technology that we've had for the last 10 years that is expiring this year. If that's approved, that would go another 10 years for a comparable rate. No tax, no additional impact year over year, just an extension. Question 3 is a new tax. If that's approved, it can only be approved if question 1 passes, and question 3 would extend the additional supports we put in during the pandemic for the next 10 years when that funding stream dries up. At this point in time in the room, our online group, we're going to sign off for tonight. And in the room, we're going to invite people to find any staff member they want, or myself or board member Simon, to answer questions.